And it looks like we're live, unless I'm
Yeah,
mistaken, but the button is red. So, welcome everybody.
it
What we're
says
going to
live.
do today? It's live. It's live. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about the trip that we took to Hamvention. Asked Chuck to come along because he hung around with me the entire time, or I hung around him. I'm not sure how that works, but
I
we had a
think it's
pretty
the
good
other way
time,
around.
right?
We did. Had a great time. Uh, saw a lot of people that watched the show, and a lot of people that didn't watch the show. I mean, let some
Yeah, it was
people
cool to
know
kind of
about it
catch
and
up with
stuff.
everybody, right?
Yeah, it was.
Hey,
It was a
Code
good time.
Masseur. But I put together some stuff, so I'll just go ahead and throw it up on there, and then we can talk through it as we have our conversation. But I picked Chuck up from the airport. I drove there. Chuck flew and
Mhm.
got him from the airport, and then we started heading over to the house, which wasn't ready when we got there.
Yeah, and we got there late. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
after the time we check in.
Hey, look at this. Who's in here? Ball. Oh,
I
hey
didn't
Lee,
touch
how you
anything.
doing, man? Here's Baltimore Mike. Again, Baltimore Mike helped us out
Yes, he did.
tremendously the
Big time.
entire time. He's like a Sherpa, an ambassador, all kinds of things rolled into one. Again, I can't say how thankful we are for all his help the entire time.
I would just say he knows the ins and outs of that Hamvention.
Hey William, how you doing, bud? But so the thing is that we had rented a pretty sweet house, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the day before I was putting the rest of the stuff in the car, and we get an email saying that the house is no longer available. It's like we had a signed contract with them, and so we couldn't stay there, which was kind of a real bummer because we went into panic mode. Fortunately,
Right.
Jim was able to find another house that we were able to stay at. It was I think it was a little bit further away. I mean, it wasn't too bad, right? It was like a half hour 40 minutes, I think,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
45 minutes, depending.
from the
We just
fairground. So
five
we were
5 minutes to get in the gate because we got there early. So
yeah, and we were able to stay there, so it really wasn't a problem. Hey, Doc Brad. And I got the Royd sitting right here. I'm trying to still decide exactly what I'm going to do with him. But we decided to meet up. Let me add this to the stage. So we all met up at this pizza place, Generations Pizzeria, and we were waiting for Joe Brett and To. And we kind of were like, you know what, we're hungry, we're going to eat. So they had cold beer, so we figured the pizza was going to be good. So we ordered up some pizzas and drank a couple beers. And then when the house was ready, we went back to the house. But that's me, Chuck. You can see John back there, and then you can see Jim. I don't think Jim's looking in the camera. I think he was looking at the waitress to get her to bring the pizza over. I think is
I
what was
think she
happening
had
there.
just something was spilled on the floor. I think she just got bent over to pick it, to clean it up. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe that's too much information.
maybe it is. But it was hey Shav, how you doing, bud? It was pretty good. This is a picture of the our spot that Mike got for us. It's
It's
this
the
one right.
vacant part there.
Yeah, so we got to the Thursday morning. We got up pretty early, for me anyway, and we headed over to the fairgrounds, and we were getting ready to set up. That's my backpack that is sitting there, but it really was a prime spot. We were right behind the Volta building, and there was a nice sidewalk, I think, that went down through there. So we had a lot of foot traffic that went through, and we had the grass, so we weren't out in the boneyard in the fenced-in area where the racetrack is, where there's all that dust and gravel and stuff.
The only thing is, I don't know that everybody knows this area is there. You know what I mean? Everybody knows where the racetrack area is for sure.
Yeah, I don't think that they did either. But I'm glad we weren't on the racetrack because all that dust, even where we were, like I felt like I had grit in my eyes when the wind was blowing around and stuff like that.
Yeah, the last day, man, the wind came up, and I thought we were going to lose Jim's awning there a couple of times.
Quirky. Hey, man, it's great seeing you and Pops out there.
Yep.
And
my neighbor was there too.
Yeah, so it was I feel like it was a pretty prime spot. I felt pretty good about it. Actually, before we go any further here, let me I do have a couple of quick videos. Here's a
It's supposed to be cloudy today, but it's not.
this is us going in there and setting up the site.
What I saw today was just windy.
But that was a traffic line, and it was brutal. The coppers did a good job.
YouTuber? Apparently, I'm not. He's a smooth
I
tuber.
don't know if I can do it twice.
Be careful with John's pole.
Hey, what are you talking about, man?
Be tender with it.
This is the DX Commander. What one?
This is the 7-meter pole.
7 meters.
It's the old version of the
7
Rapide pole.
meters long.
It's the old Rapide.
And this is for his phased array that is
A-Ray.
Band
A-Ray.
agnostic.
It's band agnostic.
or something like that.
This is take
Which
2, by
means,
the way.
In layman's term, that means any band you want to do it. You just have to do different parts.
11 meters. We can do 11 meters
We
on
can
that
do
thing.
11.
Can't do
Oh,
11
man.
meters.
Hot damn.
Drill it out just the next size bigger. It'll fit, and there's plenty of
see
meat there. And I don't think it'll go on yours either.
We got a dangerous game of tip to tip going on
His looks smaller than yours. You can drill it out.
Y'all playing tip to tip up in here.
My Schwartz is longer than your Schwartz.
Oh, and what happened here?
So if you hadn't staked that down, it wouldn't.
What happened there, son?
It was
The wind, huh?
Yeah, it was
The wind from his
Stake that
pants.
down, Bennett.
The wind from the bump blew your bumper into it. Is that what happened?
yeah. You can't.
Literally.
Don't work. That'll buff out. That'll buff out.
Well, there we go. We're going take 2 again. We got Big Jim over here supervising. We got Fuckus. This is the booth tour. We're just getting set up. Keep us respectable. We got a lawman, Joe Brett, over here. You speaking today?
Speaking.
You want to say some fancy words? Got explaining glasses
Sitting here
on.
with my trailer park stuff.
As you can see, already drawing a crowd.
My house is average like 70s probably.
Yeah,
A little below, a little above.
very nice, very nice.
Sizzle them frames there, Tio.
Well, see what we have here is a little demonstration for you. We have the nylon, 100% thickness.
Durable AF. So we had a bunch of stuff.
Too.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to apologize for Jim. He was talking a little foul mouth there, so we had to censor him out. But Joe Brett he gave a speech on, was it VARA HF? Is that what he was doing?
I think so.
Like digital HF. He got invited to do that. So you saw he was all cleaned up, wearing a nice shirt and all, combing his hair and everything. So, but it was a lot of fun doing all that stuff. Let me get back up here.
When he puts those glasses on, it's like it's a different person. It's like the Clark Kent thing, you know?
Yeah.
Except he's not Superman when it's off, but I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe he is 45. I don't know exactly what he does, but we had to behave ourselves because we had the law with us the whole time.
Yep, we did.
Oh, so here's the pork chop man. We're thinking about organizing a boycott against the pork chop man. So because we started really heavily publicizing for them to the point where you couldn't get one. The lines were so incredibly long.
Right.
It was just total pandemonium and chaos over there. And they really should be giving me free pork chops for life. And they don't. They told me I could have free condiments. And I think I got those anyway, so I was a little disappointed in that. But
Yeah, and they were sitting out in the sun all day too, man. You want to get those early.
yeah, and then this is me and Chuck. We hit it up early when James is going to make the boycott shirts. We hit them up first thing, and we wanted to get our pork chops in, so that way we would be able to enjoy them without the crowd. We were able to find a seat, and
James will probably have the shirts done before we finish the show today.
have them done
Like
before we get to
fast.
the table, right in this picture.
Right.
But I do have a quick video here. So what's number 1, right?
Number 1.
Howdy.
Hello,
They do look
how
good.
you guys doing?
I just want to eyeball these pork sandwiches. I had one for breakfast yesterday.
Hey, smells are free.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting another one. So you know.
Smells are free. That's it, baby.
That was it. Yeah, the pork chop sandwich. And Tio was saying that the price went up. That I think they were $12 last year, and now or 2 years ago. Now they're $14.
So we get them more business, and they raise the price too.
Yeah, can you believe that? Hey, Porter Boy, how you
Quantity,
doing?
huh?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? Because they're probably going to blame the tariffs for the price going up, like everybody else.
Right, of course.
And then the guys at Quicksilver Radio, I always, whenever they're at the Ham Fest, I try to support the smaller guys. You can go to their website. It's a QR. Let me see what it is. I got it written down over here. It's QS Radio for Quicksilver Radio. So QSradio.com. And it's an old timer that runs that shop. And he's a dirty dog, though. He had a couple of young gals there working for him.
Well, I was like, I saw why you like to go there.
That's the first time I think that he had the help.
No, at least one of them was there last year.
Yeah, and he's a really nice guy. So I just got a bag of power poles, and every time I go there, I usually buy a supply of power poles because I'm always using them.
Did you see the gal selling power poles out of her off of her back in her backpack? She had a sign
I
on
did
her
see
back.
that. Yeah, she was walking around selling power poles.
I think Jim bought like one of every one she had.
I did go to Rig Expert. I did see the Rig Expert display. I was going to go over there and start asking them all kinds of questions. I was like, "Hey, I really need to make an S21."
Did you buy one?
I
thought you bought one.
No, I didn't. A lot of people were trying to talk me into buying one. I guess they have a new one out or something like that. And but no, didn't
I wouldn't
buy
mind
any.
having that small one. Javi brings his all the time, but it's like I asked him to do something. He goes, "I don't know how to do that." So it's like I may have to get my own.
That's funny. Starting the day right.
Oh,
So
man.
every morning before they let the unwashed masses in, I would run down to my buddy James. He was about 12 spots down from us, and we met him 2 years ago. I was looking for an Alpha Delta switch, and as I was walking by, he had two of them sitting on the table. So I ended up buying one from him. And when I got home and I took it out, it had the slightest little imperfection in the label that was on the thing. And he's like, "Let me send you another one. Let me send you another one." And he knew us, and he was a great guy. And I was like, "Dude, I kind of feel dirty. You sending me one for free." And he sent it anyway. And we've become.
He gave it to us the next year.
Yeah. Is that what he did?
Yeah, he gave it to us
at Huntsville. Maybe he gave it to you in Huntsville.
Or Huntsville, maybe, yeah.
And he's just a fantastic guy. He did if you watch the stream that we did on Coffee and Ham Radios on Saturday, he's the one that did the install for the Jeep at DX Engineering, the 3 radio install. Yeah. He does fantastic install work.
Dude, I meant to go back and take my DJI in there and get a little video of that, and I totally forgot when I got back. We got busy selling stuff,
Yeah, it was. It was totally hectic. We had so many people at the booth or at our table, and it was nuts. It was so crowded. But every day I would run down and I'd visit Jim from Airwaves GPS is his company's name, and we would drink a beer and get the day started out right. So he had plenty of Miller Lite in the cooler, which was fantastic. We scurried over to the Yaesu booth to check it out.
Yeah, we were.
And Chuck had to explain how all the radios worked. He was.
I had to explain to one of the guys that worked there how it worked or what it had.
Yeah, this is the FT510, the new one that came out.
Left.
And then the one next to it's the 150R ASP. I really like that 150. If I needed another mobile, which I definitely do not, that would be the one. I've already got the 500, so I really don't need another one, but I do.
It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same shape as a 500 and a 510. I mean, it doesn't have the big tuning knob, but didn't it have the front where it kind of tilts up and stuff?
Yeah, but it also to me kind of looks more reminiscent of the FTM 400, where it's got the 2 sets of controls. But the 500's got the 2 sets of controls too. But
it looks like my 8800 kind of.
Yeah,
because it's the same way.
But I like those old school amber displays on radios, and just something about it I like.
Like the new. Well, I guess no. I think Kenwood they have a scope on one of theirs, don't they? I
think you're right there, LC. And he was exactly like that, Jody, 100%. And so I did, as they were unpacking stuff, I was peeping around and I saw these getting stacked up. The field version, they did not have the Optimas. This was on Thursday. I took this picture. On Wednesday, I saw a Twitter post from Ham Radio Outlet, and they were saying that they had just gotten them in stock in their Anaheim store. And I guess they got them from Anaheim to Dayton overnight, and they were unpacking them. And the guy came up and was like, "Hey, do you want one of these?" Like, but to buy it, he wasn't going to give it to me. And
you're talking just the fields, though, right?
Yeah. And I told him, I said, "Hey, nah, I got one on order, and I'm good." but thank you. And we talked to him a little bit about it. Now, one of the things is a lot of people were getting whipped up that you could buy these at the show, but if you had ordered one, you were potentially still on a wait list.
Mm-hmm.
So I did want to talk a little bit about that because there's a lot of misinformation. I talked to HRO and I talked to Yaesu about it. And what happened was that they didn't know when they were going to get the radios. They showed up in Anaheim on Wednesday. That's when they got them.
Right.
And at the Anaheim store for HRO. So the Yaesu office for North America is actually in Anaheim. And so they ship them there first, I guess.
Close.
And
Close.
yeah, and then from there they went to the Anaheim store. When you buy something on Ham Radio Outlet, you pick the store that you want to buy it from, right? So you would pick the one that's closest to you in the event that you wanted to pick it up in person, or in the event that you wanted to return it in person, or any of that kind of stuff. So when Anaheim got theirs and they were ready to ship them out, if you had ordered it from Anaheim, you would get yours in that first shipment. The rest of them once they land on shore, they have to be shipped to the other destinations, right? They like, so if you bought one, I think there's a store in Chicago. I could be wrong. I think it's an hour.
My the closest one to me is in Sacramento now, and that one probably has everything now also because they're
but if that's the store that you order from, you have to wait until they get there. So just because HRO had them, that doesn't mean that they had them in every store. Right. And a bunch of people lost their minds and acted like freaks about the whole thing. The other one is that they were really mad at Yaesu. When you buy this from Ham Radio Outlet, you're buying it from Ham Radio Outlet. Yaesu doesn't sell direct. So if you want to be mad about it, if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at HRO, not Yaesu, because you bought it from a distributor. You didn't buy it from the manufacturer, right?
So I talked to John Kruk a little bit about this also, and he said that nobody knew the Optum was coming, even the dealers,
right?
Like HRO and them. So when they found out about it, once they found out about it, they were allowed to change their orders. Say they got 2,000 regular, all they thought was the field, right? Well, then they were allowed to go back and mix and match. Like, I want 5 and 5, or 1,000 of each, or whatever. So even HRO really didn't know until last minute. So all this, that was a bunch of BS to get views. I guess probably is what happened there.
Well, the thing is that so many people are making all this drama so they can make a YouTube video and get clicks on it.
Right.
And so I took this same picture here. I posted it on Twitter, and somebody came back and asked me, well, are they shipping them? And again, they're not shipping them from the store that you ordered from until the store that you ordered from got them. But I said, I don't know. I didn't ask. And they kind of gave me a little bit of shade because I didn't ask if they were shipping them. And I was like, why would I ask them if they're shipping them when I didn't have one on pre-order? Right. You know what I mean? Like, but what I can tell you is that about 7.5 weeks ago, I ordered the Z-Bit X from, I want to say HF Signals, but that might not be right. From the Z-Bit X guys, we'll just say that. And when I ordered it, the website said ships in 5 days. And 5 days came and I didn't get a shipping thing. And I figured out, well, everybody got excited and ordered them and they got backed up. And Jody's being funny. And I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. And then after 5 weeks, I sent them an email and I said, hey, I ordered this. I just want to make sure that, something didn't happen logistically. And I got an email back and said, hey, demand's much, much higher than we thought. And, you'll get a thing when it is going to arrive. And then when I got to Dayton, we went to 4 days in May, and Farhan, the guy who owns Z-Bit X, was there and he had a ton of them. People were buying them like crazy. Yeah, and I was agitated that I didn't have one, right? But I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at him. It's nobody's real fault. I mean, believe me, they want to sell them as much as anybody else. Mm-hmm. And it showed up today. So my Z-Bit X is sitting on the table.
So yours shipped before it shipped before you were able to buy one at the show, right?
It did. I just didn't get it because I wanted to bring it to the show because I was hoping that we could have set it up at the house and messed around with it or something. But
we probably could have, but we didn't.
Yeah. Oh, there's me and Freddie Mac. But before we go there, I do have a little bit of video from the Yaesu booth. Let's take a look and see what we got there.
Buckmaster.
Nope,
This is where I
that's the
get my
Buckmaster
61s.
guy. Well, anyhow, that's where I get my mix
Optima's not gonna be
61.
here today, or is it gonna
Not
be?
today, no. But we're checking the order so we can ship. They're just about to be available in some of the stores.
These are
So,
the cartoon.
Did you record this? He knew you were recording.
You are? Yes, you are. Okay.
Is this the new 500?
So this is the whole,
Say hi.
the whole thing.
I have one on order. I'm pretty excited about it. So I just want to come see it in person.
You,
A lot of
you had
a lot of
speechless,
that. I know
man.
where I know where you can see one and touch one right
There's
now.
one down at Jason, but I got to hang around those guys.
Yeah. You got. Hey, everything costs something.
It's the price of the day. It's the price of the day.
Nothing's free. Nothing's free.
Thanks, guys.
But I was surprised at the size of the Optima. You got any thoughts about that?
I think, tell you the truth, I think it's a cross between the front of it basically is like a 991A and the back of it's wider. I'm not saying it's the same width as an 857,
Mm.
but the whole radio reminds me of 857. Well, if you watch my video, it looks like a 857 with a 500 just
Hey,
out the
John.
front of it. Oh,
Well, I
guess-
gotta tell you, I was surprised at how small it was, but it is heavy. I mean, that thing was heavy when I picked it up.
well, amps are heavy. I mean, and that's
They
what the
are.
back-
They got all
what
that
the amp is. The back is an amp and a tuner all in one piece.
Yeah, so it's filled with toroids, right? You have your
yeah.
your voltage transformation to get the more power out, and then you had all the bandpass filters in there.
And then plus you have the front part of it, which is a radio too. Basically
Yeah.
two radios, right? Well, it's the front part's the radio, but it also has its own finals, right?
Yeah, that thing it looked amazing though. I can tell you that. Like I
The
was,
screen was pretty nice.
yeah, they definitely did.
I think it's the same screen as the 710. I know it's the same size, but
It's like
nobody's
4.3
actually said
inches
for
or
sure.
something like that. I think is what they said.
yes, and that's the same as a 7300, same as a 710.
Now Freddie Mac, he was hanging around everywhere like your creepy uncle, and he was right. Like every time I turned around, and Freddie Mac was standing there, like and he's a former lawman too. And I'm like, am I being surveilled? What's going on here, son?
Right.
But he was a lot of fun. We hung out with him quite a bit.
So my video I threw out today about the Flex radio, I'm yelling over, hey Freddie, and I walk over and Michael goes, just go over and say hi to him. I thought he was buying one. It wasn't Freddie, but from the back,
Yeah,
and the side,
right.
it could have been his younger brother. I mean,
But you
his
said he had
brother.
the same ass as Freddie. That's what made you think it was him.
That's what it was, yeah. Because we followed him down, so
Hey Chris, it was great. It was great to catch up with you. We caught up with Chris at the
I
4
think
days
Chris
of May.
and Tio may have made up a little bit about the ketchup on the hot dog thing.
Yeah, they were talking about that
I'm
during the
not
live
quite
stream.
sure though. Not quite sure.
Yeah, but Freddie, I think he had more Meshtastic devices. He had so many hanging on him, he looked like a damn Christmas tree. He had like 3 of them. There were a lot of people that were like that. And
He
I was like,
looked
if
like
Mesh
that
is
guy-
so great,
Those
why do you
guys
need
that
3 or
have
4 of them?
have the vest on, the orange vest, and they got radios everywhere,
Right. Like a bandolier.
That's what he had. He had the bandolier.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Nobody
then
had time with Freddie.
there's some of the fellers. We that's
Bill just
Bill.
kept showing up, man.
Yeah,
just
and
kept showing
John,
up
so-
everywhere.
Yeah, he was another one. I thought it was a SWAT team between Bill, Freddie, and Joe Brad. I felt like but Bill's great. He's got a YouTube channel, Ham Radio Tectonics. He's always watches their stuff. He's a great guy. There's Joe Brett, and then there's Jason with a mouthful of pork chop. And
I thought that was a little kid. It's so short.
yeah, right. Look at Jim. Jim looked like he's trying to get out of there. There's Freddie
Yeah,
Mac
he does.
in the back, just like your uncle, right? He's probably talking on his radio right there. I see him right now.
Yep.
And right, Joe Brett looks like a different person in the light. Hey, Jim. Jim, if you're clean, which is a 50-50 gamble, you can jump in. The link is in our StreamYard console.
Oh man.
And then this would be Bill explaining something. I'm not sure what he was explaining. I just walked up and took the picture. But I was really more thinking about that pizza stand that was in the back there.
Did you just I don't know if you can see this, but I just got this update from James Hannibal. Put this on. It's on my phone, but let me see if I can get it turned where you can see it.
You want to go on the
go big
display here? Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Well, we don't want me. We want it to be Chuck.
Oh shit!
I can't see
there
it.
There it goes.
Oh.
It's got Gio on there eating a sandwich. Let's see.
What's it say?
Oh, hang on. Okay, I made it bigger here.
Just
saying no to pork chops. I told you he'd have them made up before the show was over. He says he can make those up for us if we want them.
Yeah, this is our buddy Craig. He's been on the channel, I think, twice on Coffee and Ham Radios. And I think his call sign's currently WCIF. Well, WC1F, W6IF. Something. He changes it a lot.
I can look up real quick. But his channel, you mean?
Yeah.
I forget. Yeah, I think
I'm subscribed, so it just comes up in my feed. But he's always changing all that stuff around. So
wasn't he a cop too? He was the Marines or something. He was in the service, but
I think he was in the Army. Because he was we saw some Marines. He's like, them damn Marines. So that leads me to believe he was in the Army or the Marines. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. But he's a really dry, funny humor kind of guy. He's I actually sent a message in with him.
Bigger than I thought he was.
I mean, it's tall.
That's like really two of the tiny Texans there, man.
Right. Well, he could be like Master Blaster with Jason on the back, like in whatever that thing's called. Then there's Bill. Is it KK4PAL? He's in Tennessee, but I think he's originally from Florida, but maybe it's Texas. I don't know. But he was hanging around
Chris, a bit. Man, I had him too. You should have asked me, brother. He's looking for one of my stickers. I had so much stuff on the table. I wasn't worried about stickers too much because they were just everything was blowing around. Especially
it's hard to keep track of everything, right?
Yeah. I should have just set them on the table. Is what I should have done.
Yeah, but that was Bill. He hung out. He gave us some yo-yos and some stickers, and was playing practical jokes the entire time. He gave me and Jim yo-yos, I think, and then Jim gave me his yo-yo. Hey, Randall, how you doing, bud? But now he was hanging out. It was a lot of fun. Really, really nice guy. And then I took this picture, Jim. I don't know if you're still watching, but Jim was hanging around this thing the whole time. I don't know what he was doing or what he was thinking. And I didn't know exactly what that was, but that was out in the boneyard.
Dang, Chris.
There is the Z-Bit X in its box. Or I'm sorry, there's the picture of it. This is their booth. And like I said, I was talking to Farhan about the whole thing. So I guess because he thought I was mad. I told him, I said, look, man, I'm not mad. I'm happy to support the project and get some kind of gadget that I can mess around with. And
I thought you guys were like long lost buddies or something.
Well, we were hanging out a lot. And so we were hanging out to the point where I was actually behind the booth for a while and he was on the customer side of the table. And he was giving me a little bit of,
he was buying his own radios from you. That's
right. That's pretty much how it worked out. But that's Farhan. And he was messing with this really sweet little tuner that he had. His homebrew tuner that he had there. That's the Bit X in between his arms. And then that red wire that's coming off of that tuner goes to a dipole that they had hanging on a door. And that radio was receiving CW. And this is at 5 days in May or 4 days in May. I mean, and it's totally empty in there, but it got crowded, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Jody, I think Mike did from New York up there. I think he did a video on everything there.
Well, what I can tell you is that room was so packed. It was literally butts to nuts. It was packed in there. Like when I was standing behind our table, the guy on the table behind us, his back was pressed up to mine. I had John pressed up to my one side, and I had Jim pressed up on my other side. I was sweating like crazy, and I was like, I got to go outside, guys. I can't take this.
I think that was Adam behind you.
Take it. What's that?
That's KK6USY behind you, I think.
No, I don't remember seeing him.
He was right behind us.
I think he was one behind and one table over.
No.
But I held on to my wallet in there because it was so crowded in there. Somebody could have gotten there and gotten it real. So I'll make sure to keep my hand on my wallet.
Oh, show.
And then this is us setting up our booth, and we were selling antennas there, and it was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of great people. But like I said, man, it was hotter than heck in there.
It was pretty nice to start with, but then it just it was like somebody turned a heater on in that place.
Well, I'm thinking if the fire department rolled in there, they would have shut it down, man. It was just way too many people in there. Hey, John, what's up, man? Just stick around, John. Your video's coming up. But Salty Walt was there. He came by and said hello to us. We traded some stickers and stuff. I've known Walt for maybe 3 years now or something like that. It was the first time we had caught up in person, so it was good to catch up.
Yeah, because you didn't go last year. He was there last year also.
Yeah, he totally had to have done it, right? Or Jim. I mean, it was just way too crowded in there. The other thing that was crazy is that people kept bringing me Miller Lights. Like I had like 6 of them on the table at one point in front of me because people just kept handing me.
Nice of you to share.
I was trying to share, but they just one after another. People were handing me beers, and I'm not complaining. I love when people hand me beers. So it was I was having a great time, and I wasn't driving. There's me with Philly Ed. That was the first time I met Philly Ed. And he was a lot of fun, tells a lot of jokes, and he was hanging out with us and came by and said hi to all the people. And I was outside this NAYO, right? And didn't he mess with your key? He had some positive feedback on your key for it.
He did. He actually tried it out in Orlando. Really liked it, and he was the first time he actually saw the final one that I did up. And he basically thought it was one of the most solid printed keys he's seen.
And he's known for the C-dub. And then Bill's finally joined the chat. Bill, you missed it. You were premiered earlier in the video. You have to go back and watch. We said all kinds of stuff about you.
You'd think a pilot would have a watch.
You would think. Maybe he's napping on the job.
Be on time.
Yeah. And
Brian?
There's Brian. No. We see him at the Ham Fest, and he came by and hung out and said hi. So I figured I'd get a picture of him while we were at it. This is really cool. This was a little device they had there. It is a tube. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is a tube-driven CW oscillator, and it has because of that tube, you need to convert your 12.8 volts into like 290 volts. So if you can't do that on your own, you can buy the green board, which is the boost converter, and that is the same toroid that we use on the Poseidon. So I thought that was neat. I took a picture of it, and I went to buy one of these, and they were sold out. It's a kit that you put together, so I was a little bit bummed about it. He told me to contact him, and he can send me one. He said he only brought 10 kits, and I'm like, well, son, that's weird. That was a mistake. You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty good. So sell them out first. He probably did pretty early too, huh? Well, they weren't very expensive either, were they?
No, they were $24.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking him how much where does this? How much were they charging for beers? $5, which I've got zero complaint about because at the Orlando Ham Fest, they charge $11 for a beer.
Right.
And I'm like, $5.
Was there Orlando? No, Orlando. We at the place we stayed, they were like 2 for something during happy hour, but not at Orlando though. You're right. They were expensive there.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm taking a look and see what else we got in here.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was, John. I mean, and it was for any beer, domestic, which Miller Lite is, and that's the official beer of NASCAR, and it has won 5 gold medals, or whatever other beer that you wanted.
Well, John was getting the tall boys, wasn't he, for $5?
Yeah, I think he may have. That's right, 4 or 5. And then here's Frank, and he is as loud as ever, going around. But he's always happy, always in a great mood. It's always a good time to see Frank. And he was recording all kinds of stuff. And then there's Chris Bricker, the ketchup man. I noticed he didn't have any ketchup when he came over to say hi. But that was him. I was talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Chris Bricker." I was like, "Oh shit," because all the ketchup drama. The beer was allowed in the building. Everybody was drinking beers. They probably weren't drinking as many as I was, but they were drinking them. Let's see. That Rob from 741 channel was there, so I was pretty excited to see him. I've been watching his channel for years. I think he does a great job. But
Rob's smart guy. He fixes radios and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's legit.
A lot of hams can't do these days.
Yeah,
I can't usually.
Well, he gets in them guts and them radios, and it was really.
I could fix it. It's the diagnosing part, you know. He does.
Well,
both.
So here's what's crazy, right? Is like when people come up and they're to me, they're always like, "Oh my gosh, I watch all your videos," and I'm super flattered by it. But I'm just like, hey, I'm just a ham like everybody else, except I have a camera and I record it. But then when I see like Rob, when I saw him, I was like, "Oh my God, it's Rob!" You know what I mean? So I go straight into that. I go right into the same road, same mode. That's 100% right, John. And crazy Carlos, and Carlos is a lot of fun, but he is crazy. I can tell you that. He's one of those guys that's always moving like this. I guess that comes from
like somebody's like he's trying to hide or something.
Yeah, or like he's still falling out of the plane or something like that. And then Doc Brad, I talked to him for quite a bit. Nice guy. And he's got a handful of stuff there he was buying, so he bought a couple things. I think he picked up some of our antennas. I don't remember exactly.
I think he got my. I think he came by the next day and got one of my paddles. I thought,
but he also got the Zbit X. Yeah, but nice guy.
Bought those.
And then Tracy from Outdoors on the Air, another guy that we're pals now. So I talked to him at the last one. We've had him on the show once, maybe twice. Jim saying he
on
did
his
buy
show.
a Cartana. Yeah, you were on his show, and you know, it's funny because he's been making videos forever, and so I watched a whole bunch of his when I was getting into HF and ham radio and stuff like that. So like, to me, it's really cool to be able to do that. So I get how other people feel about it, but Tracy's great. He gave me one of these big old Outdoors on the Air buttons, so I got one. And then there's the booth. We're set up, ready for business. Jim sitting there relaxing, Joe Brett in the back. On the right hand side of this table, you can see this is an MFJ loop tuner, and you can see the loop that's up there. And I was able to talk Joe into a sweet deal on that. So that is sitting down. I should have brought it up for the video, but it's sitting downstairs.
Would you end up getting that for?
$50.
He said he'd sell it for 40 though. He's what he told me I could sell for 40.
Well, he was selling some other stuff, and he was selling these CB meters for $5 a piece. And some kid came up and asked how much they were, and Chuck goes, "They're 3 for $20." And the kid's like, "That's too much money." And then Chuck goes, "2 for $20."
But I also sold two. Was it 1 or 2 for 20 earlier the day before? He goes, "Tell you the truth, that was more than I was asking for. Thanks."
Well, the sign said $5 or best offer.
No, he didn't have a sign.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't know how much he was asking for him.
Yeah, it was. You should have made it over there, man. It was great catching up with you at over
Jason,
here at the stand.
Yeah, we got to talk to Jason for quite. That's Jason. Got to talk.
Yeah, he came over for a while.
I met him. I think it was my first year that I went to Dayton, which has been about 8 years, I think now. We met at Josh's. He had a meetup at the one of the breweries in Dayton.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
But that was where we spent most of the Hamfest was sitting under this blue thing, and thank God we had it because my back of my neck is all red. I got sunburned like crazy. I'll say it's redder than normal.
I think I spent at least 90% of it there.
And then Saturday was so windy, all of our stickers and cards were blowing all over the place.
Yeah.
Jim printed out some guardrails for a couple of different radios he was selling. Well, before we go here, maybe we'll go here. Actually, let's do this. Let me play this video real quick.
That one I sent you. You should play that.
I'm NJ4Z, and I started Performance Z Arrays about 2 years ago to bring phasing out back to hams out in the field, portable and at home. And it's taken me 2 years to develop it, but what I did develop is a crisping method array. So you have 2 verticals with phasing cables, and it's all done on PCB boards. So it's an easy kit to build. Most people do it just using switches, and it doesn't work. So what we have is a switching network that'll handle 1,500 watts sideband and CW.
Holy moly.
400 watts digital. We have them in built kits and in kit form, so you can build them. We'll cut phasing cables for you. You can cut them yourself. So what you have is you have this network sitting out between your 2 verticals that are quarter wave long and a quarter wave spacing. You feed it with 2 84-degree feed lines and 171 delay line that goes around the box, and you have a control line and you have a controller. You can end fire the array, and then you have a broadside. So the end fire will get you 3.5 dB of forward gain. The broadside is an omnidirectional pattern with a little gain off the broadside, about 1.5 dB. Where the thing really shines is you have about 15 to 20 dB front to back.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to work Europe and you're on the east coast of the US and you got everybody from the middle of the country and the west coast trying to go over the top of you and you can't hear the DX station because everybody's calling in, you flip this array towards Europe and all the guys behind you go away.
Nice.
Yeah, so it gives you that isolation. Same thing if you're trying to work the VKs and the ZLs and you're at where I'm at in South Carolina. I get all the guys from New York and those trying to come down over the top of me. I just flip it towards ZL and VK. I can hear those guys and I don't hear the guys behind me.
Notch them out.
Yep. So the rays are available on www.performancearrays.com.
Awesome, man. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
You know, I have to give you some pointers on how to do interviews.
Son, don't tell me what to do.
Did you notice how much better it was when you got up close, how you could actually hear what he was saying?
I was using my phone mic and I should have been using the other one.
And you had him. You had him there, dude.
I know. Let me do this real quick and go into OBS and go to my eye in the sky mode.
Ooh,
let me minimize that. And then make me full screen.
Built already?
Yeah, so the thing is that I hanging around John the whole time and hearing about these and seeing them get sold. Let me see if I can get that to zoom in. I wanted one, and I knew if I got the kit, it would. I have so much stuff piled up here that I have to do reviews of. It was going to take a while to get it built. So I bought one from him. He did give me a bit of a deal though, and he's a total hammer for that. But this is a switch to go from firing the element 1 or center position gets you broadside, and that's for element 2 and the power button. And this is an extruded aluminum case. It's super, super durable. Here's the back of it. And he sent you a barrel jack for here so you can hook up to your 12-volt DC input. And then I got a 50-foot control cable. So it means I can have this box 50 feet away from the array, which is probably a little bit more than I would need. I'm planning on doing a 20 meter with the array. So I actually ordered 2 20-meter whip antennas today, because I want them to be exactly the same. I don't want to combine it with an existing one that I have. And then this is the box, and it's an Amphenol box. These are super high quality. Here's the barrel connector for the controller, and here's the board. Like I said, I just got it pre-built. John was telling me that these are DC to daylight RF relays. So you can use this contraption on any frequency that you want. And then you can see, I was joking around about doing one on 2 meters, but he guarantees me it would work on 11. But here's a control cable port, and then you just run your wires from those down through these to these like rubber grommets here. And I'm pretty excited about it. Man, he did a fantastic job with these kits. So I'm like super pumped about it.
Some guy came by that I wish John had been there, because he would have talk to the guy, but the guy, that's what the guy does. And he goes, I don't make that type of box. I mean, that type of, it's not for antennas, but he makes the same type of stuff. And he goes, that is really high quality. He was like impressed. And unfortunately, John was out. I don't know where he was at the time, but
he was probably picking up those burritos that we asked him to get for us while he was going. And he went to do something. We're like, hey man,
it could have been, and he had so many people wanting to buy the box. I think he's gonna bring extra boxes next time.
I'll get them over to you, Jim. So this is, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but this is the RF Explorer, and it goes up to 4 gigahertz. And this is a spectrum analyzer that you use for really RF sniffing. I didn't buy this. It's rebranded by Seed Studios, and the guy who runs Seed Studios was hanging out at our booth, and he brought this over to me, and he goes, "Hey, you want to borrow this thing and do some videos on it?" And I had never used one, but once he gave it to me, I was able to go into the menu and go in the configuration settings. He said that was more than anybody else was able to do with it. So he said, just go ahead and take it, do some videos, and then I'm going to send it over to Jim and see what happens. You can see it's picking up a signal right now at 99.597 megahertz.
Look at that.
So I'm really excited playing around with this. I don't have much experience with it, but I'm going to try to talk them into letting me keep it. And if they say no, I'm just going to say, well, let me buy one. Because it's what I've seen so far, it's pretty dang on cool.
And that thing is solid. I picked it up thinking it was a piece of plastic, and it's like it was.
Oh, dude, it's all metal. Well, the RF technicians use these, so they have to be relatively durable. And so it's got 2 antennas. But this one goes from 50 kilohertz all the way up to 950 megahertz. I think this one goes from 250 megahertz all the way up to 4 gigahertz, and these are capable with a license expansion of going up to 6.5 gigahertz, I believe. But like it's got a thing on there for Wi-Fi settings. So like last night I was able to look at all the different Wi-Fi channels on my 2.4 gigahertz router, and I was shocked at how much traffic some of them had. So it's pretty cool, and I'm excited about that. Then in the live stream that we did, Chuck found these Toroids right here, and I went berserk and went running over there, and I bought 8 of them.
As soon as I saw those, I was like, I gotta go get these on the camera for Abe because he's gonna go crazy. And you did.
Yeah, and so anyhow, these are mix 31, so you would use these for chokes and stuff. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but when I saw them, I mean, I almost fainted because I was like, oh my gosh. I think technically they call this a bead because of the ratio of the diameter to the height.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the whole time I'm looking at them, I'm just envisioning in my mind this connected to my nano VNA and what all the fun I'm going to have.
It's probably for Heliax or something, maybe, huh?
Yeah, I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. But this is a FT240 mix 31, and the inner hole is the same diameter.
Oh wow!
But the outer wall you can see is obviously thinner, but then it's taller on that side. So this feels like it has a little bit more mass than this. I'm not 100% sure. I'll throw them on the scale, but boy, was I excited to get these. Anytime you get a new Toroid to mess around with, it's exciting stuff, right? And I think that's all I was going to show from this view, at least right now. So let me go back to here. Let me go back to here. Let me go back to webcam. Let me minimize that.
Lon wanted to know what model that was.
I think it's the RF Explorer Plus. It didn't say, and it did. He just handed me this, and it's used, right? And it came in here. It was not in a box or anything. And I'm definitely not complaining about any of that.
If you go to the Seed website, you can probably figure out which one it is.
Yeah, but I think it's a RF Explorer Plus. But then there's different variants of that based off the licensing that you have.
I'll look for it here. Hang on.
And somebody was saying that how's it different from a Tiny SA? It has a lot of automation in it already, so you can just switch it to different modes. Tiny SA is very similar, but this has a little bit more simpler interface on it. I haven't played with it enough to be able to tell you exactly what the differences are. I do have Tiny SAs, and I'm a Tiny SA freak. I love them, even though I sold one at the Hamfest. I think I would buy one of these. After just playing with it last night, I'm like, I think that I would buy that. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I'm pretty saying nobody's ever seen me move so fast. There were 2 times I went hightailing it at the Hamfest. One of them was the Toroids. There was something else that was equally as exciting. I don't remember what it was, but so some guy comes over and he's got this giant whip antenna, and I'm like, bro, how big is that? I said, the thing looks massive. And he goes, it's 34.5 feet. And I said, how much was that? 34.5. And I said, how much was that? And he said it was $80. And I said, "Where did you get it?" And he said, "I got it from the Alpha booth." And I just got up and left. I think I looked at Chuck or Jim, and I'm like, I'll be back.
No, you
And I went
called me.
hightailing. Yeah, I called you while I was going over there. I was like, Chuck, they got that, because Chuck and I have been looking for the 25-foot whips, right? We can't find them anywhere. And Chameleon has them, but we don't want to buy from Chameleon. I won't go into why, but we don't want to do that. So we went hightailing it. I went hightailing it over there. I get Chuck on the phone, and I'm like, "Bro, I'll pick you up one." And when I got there, they were all sold out. And I was so deflated.
Would that be the RF Explorer signal generator combo? Maybe.
No, they do have an RF Explorer signal generator. The Tiny SA will generate signals. I do not believe that this one will.
Maybe it's the RF Explorer 4G Combo Plus Slim. Maybe.
I think that's what it is. I think that's the one.
I'll put a link in the. So I forget who was looking for it.
And I hightailed it after the burrito. I definitely did that, and I have a picture of the burrito coming up. Let me just look around one more time, make sure. Okay, I think that was everything I was going to show in that one.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
Let's go back to this. And that's not what I wanted to go back to. Let me hit remove. Oh, I got to remove this one, and I got to do this. Do a quick time check. This is Chuck. You want to explain that?
This is. I did this stuff kind of for the 4 days in May stuff, because that was more this is more their type of stuff, and our regular antennas aren't. And this actually might be an older model, but it's basically a dipole center, the part on the top, and with the dipole, it'll fit the new POTA 20. That if you look at the magnet on the very right of the top piece, and just to the left of that, there's that, and that goes and clicks into that top piece on the POTA 20s. If you have those POTA 20s, make sure they're glued. Mine was coming off, and so I went and super glued it. And then the next hole will fit most other masts, like the carbon 6. I usually do them in like 4 walls. So if you need to drill it out a little bit, you're not drilling into infill. And these were super popular. I think I took 40 of these things, and I got 2 left.
Yeah, they were moving like crazy.
And that little clip, actually, that wasn't the one I was putting with them. That was an early picture, because these were too hard to get on and off. And I got another clip. All it does is just keeps it from popping off the top of the POTA 20, which I don't think it would anyhow to start with, but it might.
People were definitely interested in those.
Yeah,
there's a close up of the doohickey.
And this one's for infeds. Basically, it does the same thing. If you look at the 2 top holes, that's for the mast, and it works really. I sold a ton of these too. I think I took 40 of these things. I don't think I have any of these left. And I've sold them cheap in packs of 3.
And there's a third of the table we allowed you to use.
Yeah, that's all I was allowed to have right there.
I was going to draw a line on the table so Chuck would know what his area was.
Yeah.
Hey, Broken Signal, we missed you down there.
Yeah.
So here we go. There's some of your keys while they were being built, right?
Yeah, there's just some of the different colors. Eventually, I'm probably gonna. Ape and I talked about it. I'm not gonna offer as many colors as I had at this thing, because it's confusing. It was confusing for people to look. I let them look at all the different ones
nicely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And packages were like perfect.
People went crazy for these things, didn't they?
Yeah, they're a little different than most of the ones out there. They have a little indent, a little concave sides to them. So
got some curves.
They're made to hold in your hand. I put magnets on the bottom. They're not. It wasn't meant to set on your radio and do it that way. But I may upgrade that on the next batch.
Well, you definitely did a good job with them. People definitely liked them.
The stronger magnets are way more expensive, though.
You got that nice texture on there.
Yeah, I put the texture on them. I thought it looked better with the texture on there. I actually sold 2 of them. I took 2 of them just so I could set out so people could feel, touch them and stuff. And I ended up selling both of them. Well, I gave one away to a little girl. She was 10 years old, and she was a CW operator, and I was like pretty impressed with that. And the guys were like, "You should just give her one." And she ended up picking one I wasn't going to sell, but I just gave it to her anyhow.
And Portable Ham says he said it was very comfortable in the hand.
I don't know about the whisper, but I'm learning. I just like the design stuff and put together.
And there's Chuck working the booth.
Yep. I was the only one there at that time, except you take.
Well, no, I was there. I took the
John's,
picture.
John's in the background there.
And you guys wouldn't have believed the drama about putting this flag out. How everybody had opinions on this. It got to the point where I thought somebody was going to choose violence over words.
Well, we put it up so high last time, and it's not a flag, and it didn't really fly like a flag, so nobody knew what it was. And I'm like,
Yeah,
can't do that. And this worked good.
So I took charge and I mounted it like that. And this is when I was going to play John's video, but we already played it. But there he is. And,
you know what? I'm glad you redid that there, because when you did it in the stream, it was so choppy. It didn't come out very well. So you
always got something to say.
You need to post it. You need to post this. You need to post the one you did here.
Yeah, I was thinking about posting it earlier today, but I didn't have a chance to talk to John about it
because it was way better. Well, you didn't have very good service out there. It wasn't you. It was just phone service.
Yeah. That's Rockstar Dave, and I can't remember her name. He told me, and I should have remembered it, but I don't. And Rockstar Dave gave us a bottle of very nice liquor that didn't end up getting drank, so I brought it home with me, and I drank some of that last night.
You drank it all, or just some?
No, I just had a glass of it, but it was good.
How was it? I mean,
I have my fridge makes those big round ice balls, and I put one of them in my bourbon glass. And
so the true story is he hid it so we couldn't drink it.
Well, I mean, you know, and I had my eye on that bottle the entire time, though. I definitely was thinking if it doesn't get open, it's coming home with me. And I poured a nice glass last night and really enjoyed it.
That's Connie.
Connie, right. So thank you, Rockstar
Thanks,
Dave.
Jim.
I really did. I really did enjoy that. And this is Brent, and he and I are buddies. We trade messages on Discord often, talking about toroids and antenna tuners. And he came up and hung out with us a little bit. Really nice guy. It was great to see him, shake his hand, and it's always good to meet people that you talk to, but you don't get to meet in person. And look at that, KB9VBR. And he's another guy that I used to watch all the time, still do, and had never met him. So it was nice to meet him and say hi. And he was checking out all our stuff. He's done a couple of antenna reviews for us, and he likes the products. And he's been on car a few times, and he had like 5 cameras with him. He was like a paparazzi,
a walking camera.
Indeed, that's the burrito, and everybody. So I was sitting there behind our table, and the kid sitting at the table across the street from us starts eating this massive burrito, and I'm like, "What the hell is that thing?" And so I get up and I go over to him. I'm like, "Look, I'm not being creepy. I'm not being a perv, but I need to know where you got that burrito from, son." So he told me, and we came back and started talking about it, and that's when we decided to get him. Now Chuck is like, "That burrito is nothing special here in California, all that stuff."
You can get them on the street corners out here, man.
The burrito was massive, and that burrito was good. So I was walking around, and there's the Talk Pod booth, and I was tempted to go over there and ask him some very pointed questions, but I didn't want to be that guy, so I let him off the hook, and I kept walking. And
for a change,
right?
I didn't want to be that guy. For a change,
but I was thinking, no, I got some good questions for these guys, but they seem like nice enough fellers, so I just kept going. There's a picture of the RF Explorer, and you can see at the Hamfest, it was hitting a pretty strong signal when there we go. Yep, it is. It was hitting a pretty good signal right there on 927.117 megahertz. So here's what's crazy. It's detecting that signal at negative 52, and that's a calibrated measurement. So that's what it's seeing is negative 52. An S9 signal is negative 72. So that would be an S9 plus 20 strength signal that's cooking through there. It's pretty.
What frequency?
It looks like it's one of the 900 megahertz. So it was probably the cops or something. I'm talking on there, but
922.
Yeah. That's me and one of my favorite Canadians, Prep Ham Paul. I think he had just gotten some poutine from the maple truck.
That's something
maple
else
food
for
truck
sitting there.
Yeah. So yeah, he came strolling through. He stopped and said hi to everybody. He's got a channel called Prep Ham Paul, I think is what it's called. And there's ACK, our RPS expert. And so here's what's crazy about old ACK is that 2 years ago he got he was talking to TO and somebody walked up and thought it was me and TO talking. They thought he was Abe. And this year when I was standing there, we were selling the antennas. Some guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, it's ACK." And I'm like looking to see where ACK is. "Hey, Freddie, you just missed. We were showing your picture earlier."
Oh,
but I was looking for ACK, and then I realized he thought that I was ACK. So I've been mistaken for him, and he's been mistaken for me. I don't know if I should be upset about that, but I think I am. But I don't know if that's maybe I shouldn't be. I just thought it was funny, but he was a lot of fun to talk to as well. So I think that this is going to be the product that we endorse at the Hamfest moving forward is the handheld gyros. Now I know a lot of people are like, "Hero." I call them gyros, and I'm going to keep calling them gyros, regardless of what anybody tells me. But that thing was tasty, and it was messy, and that's two of my favorite things.
The burritos were messy, too.
Hey, Freddie.
I don't think it was quite as messy as that, because Jim had, like, from the top of his eyebrows down to his chin. It was everywhere.
Yeah, Jim was wearing more than he was eating. That's for sure.
Well, I don't know if I'm pretty sure he ate a lot of it,
but I got like I was leaning like way forward like that when I was eating to try to minimize the damage, but it did get everywhere. But it was absolutely freaking awesome.
Yeah, Jim looked like he was enjoying himself.
And they were like they were $12, $13 or something. Mine was a little more because I added hot peppers to it. Kent was hanging out with us, and we had been trying to talk him into buying this the entire time. It's a 100-watt amplifier for the Lab 599 TX 500.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it here, but there is an FCC ID on there. And a lot of people are like, "There's no such thing as a Part 97 certification." And there's an FCC ID, and it says right there, FCC Part 97 certified. And the reason I took that picture, I want to put it in here, is a lot of people were giving Yaesu crap and saying, well, they don't need to be FCC certified. Why are they going through that process if they don't need to be FCC certified? The Optima has an amp, and the amp needs to be certified. And that's why they did it. And that's why this one is certified, because amplifiers need to be certified. But it was a nice looking amp too. I wouldn't have mind putting it in my bag.
Yeah. He and I talked quite a bit about it, and he still bought it. I mean,
and there we are with New York Mike. Yeah,
New York Mike. Mike is the one that has the. I think he has a walk around of the video of the show, at least one or two.
Yeah, well, he has got more stuff in the pocket strap of this backpack than I have ever seen anybody fit into one of those. he did a pretty good job filling it up. And this is the end. This is us last day. We had ordered Chinese food. We were waiting for it to get there, or for Tio to pick it up. I don't remember exactly what happened.
He picked it up.
But there you can see Jean-Luc Guérin and Jim. And Jim, I don't know what he was watching on that laptop, but it probably was not appropriate for everybody. There's Tio. There's Chuck way in the back, and that would be me. And then there's Lawman Joe Brett.
KK6USY.
And so I guess that covers what we did at Hamvention.
Yeah, it was a fun time, man. It really was. Bunch of good guys.
Yeah, it was great meeting and seeing everybody. It was totally fun being it. We didn't walk around and see a whole lot of the show. I did go check out the Yaesu radio, the 7760 from ICOM, and the new radio from Flex. It's got a fancy name. I don't remember exactly what it was. But I had such a fun time hanging out with the booth with everybody. I don't feel like I missed anything, you know?
Oh, wait a minute. Right here.
We got one.
Well, he was asking. I always thought he was asking if you found one. He did find an ATAS finally. The guy was a little more reliable than the last guy I bought it from.
Yeah, so Joe Brad actually had somebody come and hand deliver him one, so he did end up getting his ATOS. So that
Oops.
Yeah, Rick, that's exactly what counts as we had a good time, and it was fun. So I think with that, I want to say thanks for watching, everybody. Totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
Wasn't planning on doing a live stream today, but I just decided to do it. And
he's like, right as he drops. Actually, did you ask me? Oh no, you asked me while I was on the plane in between flights, huh?
Yeah. So
let me tell my little story about
the go-to. Hold on a second. The go-to
plane.
trinket was the Mesh-tastic device from Seed Studios. Everybody had them. All right, go ahead, Chuck.
So I've been pretty lucky. I've carried a lot of stuff. I mean, I've carried like 10 or 12 of our antenna kits in my suitcase and stuff. I get this kid. He's if he was 18, I'd be surprised. Maybe he's probably 18. And they pulled my bag off. I'm like, oh, here we go again. Just like last time with the crimpers that I lost.
Right.
And I'm like, man. So he goes, you've got this really big thing in the middle. I go, that's a roll of wire. Well, what do you have wire for? I came to a ham fest. I go,
I like
wire
wire
for making antennas. And I have to tell you, Ape, that wire is super supple, dude. Let me tell you. And it's 18 gauge.
We should have bought it all.
And so he pulls it out and he looks at it and he goes, yeah, that looks okay. And then he grabs both. I have a carbon 6 and I have the POTA 20 in there. He goes, have you brought these before? I go, yeah, like 20 times. He goes, oh, really? He goes, I don't even know what these are. He goes, what are they? I go, they're basically, okay, they're fly rods. They're fishing rods, right? Well, I don't know about that. I got to call my manager. So he calls his manager, and this guy's like 2 years older than he is. And he's looking at him, and they pull the end off they pulls the wrong end off. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Everything's going on the floor. I go, hey, don't tilt that thing over. And they kind of started copping attitude with me. The kid did, the younger one. At the end, I was like, dude, come on. It's a fishing pole. Well, I'm just kind of worried, you could use this to hit somebody with. I go, believe me, I wouldn't take $100 fishing pole and hit somebody with it because I wouldn't want to break it,
Well, I mean, you could also, I mean, who knows? I mean, these guys are crazy.
God. I think they're the new hires.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say thanks for watching, everybody, and sharing the experience with us. And I'm going to hit the end stream button.
Later on.
And I did it.